Welcome to Stop My Crisis. I'm your host, Vivian Gaspar, and here today with us, I'm very fortunate to have a guest who is an expert on helping you in preventing you from becoming a victim of any type of violent abuse, whether it's familiar abuse, domestic violence, or perhaps an attacker on the street. And that can really be prevented by having better self-esteem. And finding out exactly what that means is here with us today, Nancy Martin. Nancy is an abuse prevention expert and empowerment coach. She teaches others how to embody confidence, repel potential abusers, and overcome past abuse. Welcome, Nancy. Thank you so much for making it to our studios and helping us understand that abuse is many times very preventable.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Oh, great. And so how can we prevent ourselves from becoming abused?
So I believe that the key in preventing abuse is building your own self-esteem, that it is really about finding your core confidence, about finding your self-esteem and your authenticity. And by building that, we present ourselves to the rest of the world in such a way that it takes the target off our back.
Now, does that mean it's for the people in your immediate circle, whether it's a loved one or a significant other, or just some strange attacker on the street? Or, hey, what if you meet somebody in a bar? Does that include everyone?
It really does, because it's the way in which you present yourself. Those that, you're covering so many different types of people, right? But the bottom line is those that are, say, the stranger or the one looking to form a relationship in which they can control the other person. They know what to look for, either consciously or subconsciously. They know what a potential victim looks like. And they're drawn to those type of people. They're not drawn to the confident woman that they know will say no in such a strong way and be able to stand up for themselves. They just won't. And so building your own confidence and being able to hear your own voice and honor yourself in any situation is the type of personality that they don't want to mess with to begin with.
So when you say honor yourself, what does that mean? So many people say, well, what do I mean honor myself? How would I even do that?
Right. So what that really means to me is it is when you listen to your own interior voice, that strong voice of yours, your intuition, that thing inside of you that tells you you're worthy, that voice that tells you that you're strong and you're worthy and you deserve great things. And it's listening to that. And what happens is so often, especially we as women, as we're growing up, we slowly learn how to not listen to that voice anymore and listen to the voices of others.
Now, someone actually recently gave me a tip that I try to really listen to. If you ever hear a little negative talk in your head, like, oh my God, don't even try doing that, you can't do it. Then you should just say, it's an NLP thing, a neuro-linguistic programming, cancel. Your body, your brain is like a computer. Cancel. Mm-hmm. And stop and replace it with a positive variation of the same thing. Mm-hmm. Instead of, why am I even trying this? I can't do this. I'm not smart enough.
Right.
Cancel? Yes, I can do this. It's just a matter of finding out the right information, Google and Siri or our friends, and actually just tackle it. Do it.
Research. Yes.
Right. Do the research and maybe we can do it.
Yes.
Nowadays, it's not all about IQ. It's about persistence, diligence, and desire to want to do it.
That's right.
That makes the difference in succeeding or failing, perhaps.
Absolutely. So we can actually stop, get ourselves to a neutral zone, and then choose which mood, which mentality, which disposition will serve us best in this moment. All of a sudden, the world's open for you.
Now, how about controlling your moods to the extent that you can? For example, I noticed myself, when I don't get enough sleep, my mood is bound to be down.
That's right.
I know I need to get my at least 7 to 7.5 hours sleep every night, because I find that I end up having more negative thoughts fill my head when I'm tired.
Absolutely.
When I wake up in the morning, I'm bound to do better. So then I just got to remember, if I'm starting to have some negative talk in the evening or at night when I'm starting to get really listless, cranky, so you know what? I'm going to just go to bed. I'll feel better. I'll think better. I'll have a better mood in the morning.
Yes.
And then just find a way to get that sleep.
Absolutely. And in my work, I handle the whole being in 3 ways. And so one is definitions, using words like we just talked about. It's redefining words. It's how we use our words, our communication to ourselves and to others. One is our moods and emotions that we just touched on, how your outcome can be changed by the mood you're in. And the third is the body. And the body isn't just about breathing and posture, but it's also how you're treating it. Are you giving it enough water? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you giving it enough love? What is it that you're doing with your body that can be altering your moods and emotions and your language?
Now, what do you mean by giving your body enough love? What does that mean?
That can mean different things for different people. It can mean taking a moment and really looking at yourself and being comfortable with your bodies. We're so uncomfortable with our bodies these days. How many of us, when we're putting our makeup on, don't look at our full face at one time, but only just the one eye for this eye makeup and the lips but we don't really stop and look at us as a whole being.
If you could just tell me who could really use this information and how you get it out, I really want to give you kudos. This is something great that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Because raising self-esteem, I think, could really make a difference, not just in your life and how you are. It's not just about not becoming a victim, but it's also your self-esteem is directly tied to your ability to earn a living.
Yes,
how much money you make.
Yes.
And stopping a crisis, the name of the TV show, is all about also stopping financial crisis. Not everything, but a lot of crisis has to do with the not having enough money.
Absolutely.
So when you have better self-esteem, you can earn more money, help everyone in your life. I mean, if you have people who rely upon you financially, not just yourself.
Right.
So there's a lot of reasons to have better self-esteem.
Absolutely. It touches literally every single thing you do.
Exactly.
Yes.
So who do you help with this? How do you do it?
Right. So currently I am giving talks around the country, and starting next year, I am going to be going on tour with my Dance Your Way to an Empowered Self workshops. And I'm going to be going all across the country giving these workshops on how we can use our bodies to build our self-esteems. And it's amazing to see how quickly transformed and the building of the self-esteem can be built when we bring our bodies into it, and also how it lasts, because when we embody this work and we practice it, it becomes a part of who we are. So it's not one of those things, we've all had those aha moments.
Yeah.
And then they last like 2 weeks and then they fizzle away and that's it. This lasts forever. When you embody it, that means it becomes part of you and then it's there forever. So between my talks, I do personal coaching one-on-one and with groups, and also look for my tour next year.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I really think it's great to remind people that even if you feel down, it doesn't have to be a clinical depression situation.
No.
There's ways to make these changes without any chemical assistance.
Right. And they can be quick, easy, and effective.
And hey, affirmations, let's not forget that one last tip.
Not at all. Not at all. It's an important one.
Thank you so much, Nancy. And we will learn how to make this a way to make us better in our entire lives. Getting better self-esteem improves everyone around us, not just ourselves and who we have to take care of as well.
3.4 million children are investigated by Child Protective Services annually. Of the kids in foster homes, 75% were neglected, 17% physically abused, and over 300,000 sexually molested.
I decided to dedicate my practice to helping people and parents who have lost their children.
Attorney Vince Davis has brought thousands of families back together, and he will fight for yours.
Welcome back to Stop My Crisis. We are very fortunate to have with us here today Tommy Hilcken. Tommy is a motivational humorist, life success consultant, and public speaker and trainer. He is the founder and principal of Tommy Hilcken Productions, which provides speakers, trainers, entertainers for corporate and community as well as private events. Tommy, thank you so much for coming to share with our viewing audience how, when you're not even a public figure or a public speaker, why is it so important to learn how to present really well in all aspects of your life?
Well, it's good to be here, by the way. Thanks for having me. When it comes down to presenting yourself, you can present yourself in a personal way as well as a professional way. And most people connect with people exactly on how they present themselves. So it's important. People can read body language, know what's going on. Are you confident? Are you shy? First thing people do when they meet you is, we don't like to say this, but people are judging us.
And what I like to say is, unless you're retired, you are one of 3 categories of people your entire life. You're either a W-2 wage earner,
Right?
you're self-employed, or you're unemployed.
There you go.
All 3 of these categories, it's critical that they present themselves really well, because even if you're a W-2 wage earner, you don't know who you're going to encounter in your workplace that could mean potentially a raise or a new opportunity at work. And we all know how critical it is for someone who's self-employed or unemployed. They need to be really on all the time. You could be unemployed, meet somebody at the supermarket, and they might have a job opportunity for you. You just don't know.
And that's what we're saying, how you present yourself. No matter what it is, if you're at the job already, if you present yourself, that's where growth comes in. People are going to say, this guy, he can represent my company. I like the way he represents my company. He represents us well. And when you think about that, so if you're not employed or you're unemployed, the thing could be that how do you present yourself to someone who might potentially hire you? How do you look? How do you act? How do you behave? And that's what I'm saying. It's just about how do you present yourself. Not so much giving a presentation, which is something we teach people to do, but when you think about it, when you get up in the morning and you head out of the house, the best thing you can do is put your best foot forward and present yourself well.
Now, you're saying in all mannerisms. So I've heard so many, especially younger people, and because we have a lot of people we work with in our organization, and the younger people, like it's unfortunately the grammar is just not there, or they think it doesn't matter, or they're used to using abbreviations because of texting. Do you still find that this is any more lax than it used to be, or is it just equally as important regardless of all the texting, way of life we have nowadays?
It's a great question, and I see it all the time. People texting, like you said, shortcuts, nobody putting out full sentences,
LOLs.
abbreviations, LOLs. People are talking LOL in real life.
No,
Like,
I hope
no one
not.
laughs anymore. It's just like LOL, So when you think about it, what people need now, I see it coming full circle sooner or later, where people are still going to have to present themselves. They're going to have to sit in front of someone. They're going to have to get their message across. I don't believe, even though you see it now, people hire from LinkedIn and types of things like that with the internet. So things are changing, but I always feel you got to be your personal best. I always say that if you look good, you feel good. So, try and get up, make yourself look as good as you possibly can. And when we talk about appearance, I was mentioning, right? So if you look good, people are judging you. They're going to say, wow, you look really good today. You look nice. Do you ever notice sometimes you just put a little extra in and somebody will come up to you and say, wow, you look really nice today? That's a good boost for your self-image, for you, for how you feel.
And I think it even boils down to little things. Like, for example, for my family, I always say no one's going to wear wrinkled clothes in my house. Your kids, everybody should just, you just better appearance for any reason. And by the way, that doesn't mean I love ironing. It just means take the clothes out of the dryer and hang it right up.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's lots of little ways that translates in everyday life.
We were taught young, I was one of 6 kids, so we learned to iron.
Big family.
Oh, yeah. So we learned how to iron, we learned how to cook, we learned how to do things, we learned how to make our beds, all those type of things. But in reality, I always talk about people, no matter what it was in our life, my mother used to say, go put your good pants on. And when I'm doing my trainings, most people, I say to people, why don't you want to come up? Why don't you speak in public? And the reason they say is, I feel like I'm being judged. And the thing I always say to them is, no matter what, you are.
So why do you believe cultivating any aspect of public speaking really helps to build any level of self-confidence?
Well, I'll talk about my story and why I did it. Growing up, I had a poor self-image. I was always afraid. I was always a nervous kind of guy. And people see me now and they can't believe that, because they say, wow, you're a natural at what you do. And I remind everybody to know, actually, this is a learned skill. I learned how to do this. I prefer being behind the scenes and everything, but this is a learned skill. I learned how to do it because I needed it for my business. I needed to present myself. So when I'm out there, I do my personal best. But you asked a question about personal growth. When they talk about giving a presentation or public speaking, what do most people say? It's the scariest thing on the planet, right?
What's that old saying? You'd rather be people have more of a fear of public speaking than death.
Right.
So that means they'd rather be in the box than giving the eulogy.
And it's exactly how it looks. And I met a lot of people, and I was one of those people. But the learning is in the doing. So the more you do this, the more confidence you get. And that's why I tell people to do this. If this is the number one fear in the world, what would happen if you got through this? What could you take on? So that's why when I talk to people about public speaking, hey, listen, if you can do this, maybe you'll jump out of an airplane. I jumped out of an airplane. I went whitewater rafting. I went on roller coasters.
Wait, a perfectly working airplane? Why would you do that?
My youngest daughter talked me into it. was a great experience. But I feel like that was more scary than public speaking. So people have this in their head. But what I like to remind everybody, if you can get in front of people and present yourself with confidence, not only is it boosted, they want to know more about you. And when people start to come up and say, that was amazing, that was wonderful, what's going to go happen? Your self-image is going to go through the roof. That's why I always say that public speaking is a great personal growth tool. It's personal growth.
But also, I think it's also, people have to go back to the fact that a lot of crisis ends up being solved with more money.
Right.
So if you're finding that being a presenter or presenting yourself even better presents even more opportunities, somebody sees you, if you're, like I said, unemployed, that's easy. We have to get a good job. But if you're self-employed, it's a matter of getting new connections, new business alliances, new clients. And as you were saying, even if you're a regular salaried wage earner, you don't know who you're going to meet in the company down the hall, water cooler, whatever, a situation, company event.
Right.
They see you. They see something in you. May get another position and higher opportunity at the company. There's so many ways that this can translate. Have you seen any of this in your experiences with interacting with people in the business circles that you're in?
I always look at it this way. The one thing for sure is if you're the face of the business and you don't want to be, if you're going to be shy, shy people have skinny kids is the way I look at it. Because think about it, we have to go out and we have to sell ourselves, we have to sell our service, we have to sell our products if we want to make money. So we have to get in front of people one way or the other. We have to, or we have to have someone do it for us. But the thing that I see most is people are the face of the business and they're shy. So how are you going to get business if you're not able to get yourself or your message out there? I see it all the time. That's how we work with people so they can be a little more confident in their services, in who they are, and they can lead them to getting better at public speaking.
So what do you think about appearance? Can you give a couple of quick, easy things that you talk about when you say improving appearance?
Well, when I talk about appearance, a lot of people say combing your hair or putting a nice tie on or jacket or a blouse or shoes or a bag, that type of appearance. That's all on the outside. How you appear on the inside, when you stand, do you stand tall? Do you stand strong? Confident? Do you smile? Now, do you project that from you? It's just going through life with a certain confidence. It's not based on ego. It's about actually becoming better at what you do and letting the world know about it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with shining. A lot of people in this world, the reason they struggle is they play it small. And there's no reason to play it small. If you can become better at public speaking, you can present yourself and make yourself into a literal giant. Men and women.
So I just want to know, and when you say there's great power in stepping up and standing out and standing tall, how can anyone do that when they're younger to not just being in business? Can you give any tips to like teenagers or, younger kids as well?
I certainly can. And one of the things is to get training. If you can find somebody who's doing what you want to do, find them and ask them how. When I started doing my presentations, I've always done comedy and magic, so I've been on stage, but I wanted to be a presenter. I wanted to give out topics, motivational, inspirational. I wanted to train people, educate people. So I had to learn how to do that. So I went and I studied with the late, great Zig Ziglar.
Wow.
Because
in person?
In person.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
He's the legend.
The legend. And when he was speaking, I realized how he captivated everyone. But he made me feel special, and it was 10,000 people in the audience. Well, he was just a very, very powerful man. He knew how to use gestures. He knew how to stand tall, project his voice. His message would come right at you, and you'd be saying, like, how did he know that about me? So what happened was I saw him, fell in love with what he was doing, decided I wanted to do it, and I truly mean that to anybody who's looking for success. Successful people love to share what they're doing. So find them, find a mentor, ask them how. You'll be surprised how much information they'll give you.
So how do you find a mentor then?
Well, you have to look. There's easy nowadays, right? You can find many, many people who are out there speaking. There's Toastmasters. When I first joined Toastmasters, it was a terrific place for me. My mentor was number 2 in the world in public speaking. So he was right in my club. So he taught me so much. And then as I grew and I started to go, I started to meet other speakers.
Well, wait. Let's stop for a second. What is Toastmasters? You got to explain it first.
Toastmasters is an actual club. It's a club that you join. They're all over the world, this country, even right in this state, there's so many of them. You put your zip code in, you can find a Toastmasters club. And what it is, it's an easy way for you to learn how to do public speaking. Everybody there has been through where you've been, so they're very kind and loving and caring and nurturing, and it's one of the best places you could ever do is go to Toastmasters for public speaking.
And does any particular type of person attend? I mean, are there age groups? I mean, what are the classifications in order to become a member?
Well, the one thing for sure about Toastmasters is that it's 18 and up. It's a business club, so I generally think you need to be out of high school, but they do have youth leadership programs that Toastmasters bring into schools to teach kids. And another thing you're saying, for self-image with kids, it's a great, great way to do it. If you can present yourself, not be shy, not want to hide in your room all the time. And video games will get kids hooked up and where they're not moving and stuff. So it is a way to get them out in the real world in front of people.
So you recommend Toastmasters for anyone, not just someone who has to present professionally, because even if they don't have to, wouldn't that just elevate themselves within their own mind, just give more confidence?
In every talk I do, I say everyone on the planet should take at least 1 year of Toastmasters. Just 1 year.
Really?
1 year.
Everyone?
Everyone. Everyone should go in, because the greatest thing about Toastmasters is once you learn how to do it, it becomes your mission to give back. That's how it works. Once you get taught, you teach other people. There's no greater premise on the planet than that. Thank you for teaching me. Now I'm going to teach someone else, right? And that's how Toastmasters works. Everybody came in, didn't know what they were doing, were taught by other Toastmasters. Now it becomes your turn to teach.
Wow. That's a great organization.
Great
Is there a
organization.
minimum requirement, or is it expensive?
It's under $100 a year.
Affordable. So any last tips as we wrap up?
The one thing is, if you're afraid of public speaking, I have one tip. Do it afraid.
Do it afraid.
Do it afraid. Because once you get up there, the next time you go up, it'll be a lot less fearful. And each time you do it, you'll become less and less afraid. And all it will do, it's a tremendous personal growth tool. So the answer is, if you're afraid of public speaking,
do it anyhow.
Do it afraid.
Do it afraid. Because so many people have said, oh, picture your audience naked, or make eye contact with certain people. I mean, I've done a lot of public speaking in my life. I've spoken in front of hundreds of people, and it's just one of the best pieces of advice I've heard so far. Just do it afraid.
Do it afraid.
And the number one rule to remember is what we're talking about here today. It's not just about how to be a public speaker. It's how to present individually, how to present in your day-to-day life, so you help yourself, because you need your opportunities. Unless you're independently wealthy and you have the flexibility to be a hermit,
right?
You need this.
There you go. You need this. You need to get out. You need to shine. You need to stand up and stand out. You
It's
really
okay,
do.
and everybody should have the permission. Give yourself permission to do it, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for Tommy. This is just, I think it's really useful and helpful to everyone.
I hope so.
And this is something that will potentially stop a crisis, because if you're able to get out of your shell, just exude more confidence in every little thing you do, you will be very surprised at what doors that can open for you.